Hello, my friends. It's time for sacred reading. On a weekly basis, we try to make our way through a sacred text, reading 2 or 3 verses at a time, listening deeply with the trust that Spirit will speak into our lives, what we need to hear, what we might need to know, might call us back from the edge, might push us to deeper reflection, might give us something to open our eyes to a reality we didn't notice before. But we believe that Spirit is alive and active, that we are spiritual beings, and that if we listen and become attentive, and the practice of doing sacred reading with a text invites us to see how sacred reading bleeds over into our everyday lives, how looking at the world in which we live, listening carefully to the words a friend or even a stranger speaks to us, that in it we hear echoes of the divine. There are so many messages that life is looking to give us, to remind us who we are and what we are meant to be about. We've been making our way through the first letter of John, and we are very, very near the end. We're in the 5th chapter. Today we're looking at verses 18 and 19. After that, that'll leave us about 3 verses to work through for the next couple of weeks, and afterwards we'll begin a new sacred text to work our way through. So thanks for joining us. If you do sacred reading on your own, I do on a regular basis. If you do it daily or regularly, let me offer you a few suggestions. One is to read the text aloud. Let it vibrate through your whole body as you say the words aloud to yourself. I encourage you to do it at least 3 times. Now, when we practice sacred reading together on a weekly basis, I just read it to you once. Now, after you've read it to yourself, listen for what stands out, what word, what phrase. Does an image arise inside of you as you listen to it? And what does that image mean for you right now, today? Because the interesting thing is, if you read the same text a week from now, it might mean something else altogether because of where you are and what's going on. Spirit will speak into your life what you need now. Now, when we do this together, after I've finished reading the text out loud, I'll pause for a moment. You're welcome to just tune away, turn it off. Go and read the text yourself in a different version if you want to, whatever you choose to do, or you can just make your own reflections. However, if you hang on, and that's up to you, I do offer what rose for me, what image, word, phrase, what I felt called to do or say because the text was speaking. So let's listen together now. Catch your breath. Let's listen for a word from Spirit as we turn to 1 John chapter 5, verses 18 and 19. Listen now. We know that all who have the Great Spirit as their Father do not continue to walk in broken ways. They are kept safe by the Son, who fully represents his Father, and the evil one cannot harm them. We know that we are children of the Great Spirit. We know that the evil one rules over the ways of this world. I have to say, when I listened to the text, struck by 2 phrases, the ones that jumped out to me. The first one, which actually came first, was walking in broken ways. The second phrase was the ways of this world. Um, I find that many of us measure ourselves against cultural norms, even very specific religious norms. Maybe they're familial norms, or they are peer related norms. Someone has told us who we are, who we're supposed to be. And what they've told us, though well intentioned, are the ways of the world. When we try to engage in what some people have called a dog eat dog society, in the rat race, all of those allusions to what our culture tells us is most important, those are the ways of the world. We learned as we've read 1 John that the way of Creator, the unbroken way, is the way of love. We are called to love. I know I keep coming back to it. Some people say to me, James, do you ever talk about anything but love? Well, it is the most important lesson. And so while I may occasionally talk about something other than love, I hear the echoes of love over and over again. And here I hear the echo of love. To practice the path that Jesus has laid out, that Spirit is leading me on, is to practice the way of love. Not the way of dog eat dog, rat race, or any of those other metaphors you may use. So I have to look for alternative ways to live and to live freely, not the ways of the world. If I am truly a part of the way of Creator, if I have the Great Spirit as my Father, as this First Nations translation puts it, then I can find a way to do things differently, to be different, to respond differently. So often our society invites us to respond in fear. And that's not just American society, US American society. It's societies all around the world. There's a lot of fear. And the way of the world is oftentimes based on that thing we can't even see. We're afraid of the unknown, or afraid of what is described to us as something we ought to fear. And I think that those are the ways of the world. And indeed, often the embodiment of evil when we follow them. And yet, if we are indeed people who have the Great Spirit as their Father, then we walk in the unbroken paths that Jesus leads us in. If you're not a Jesus follower, then Spirit leads you in. Spirit leads us to be a part of a loving solution, a peace-filled solution, a hopeful solution. And so as we are now at the beginning of a new year, which probably partially shapes my hearing of 1 John chapter 5, 18 and 19, I get to choose in every response to everyone I meet how to be most loving, to not walk in broken ways, to trust that Spirit will protect us, protect me as I attempt to walk in the unbroken ways, not protect me from harm so much as protect me from my own propensity to do the easiest thing, which is to follow the way of the world, to inspire and encourage and walk with me on that path. So I hope for you that you'll find the same thing. or whatever you find in this passage, that you will be inspired to live by it. So I wish you all the best. Remember, you are infinitely precious and unconditionally loved for the gift you already are. Until the next time I see